What up, cucks? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece. And this video is going to be a little bit about the future of WWE, right? NXT is going down the drain. And for some reason, once again, the people that get promoted from NXT to WWE are just lost in the shuffle, right? It's like, it feels like Otis was promoted to WWE like last year. But he's been there for like several years, cuck. Same thing with Chad Gable. These guys are just there doing nothing, right? The same thing can be said about the Creed brothers, and then once in a while, some NXT guy will get a push. But it almost never works. NXT is a problem, right? There's many ways to address this, right? And I will admit, this only applies to the male talent. The female talent from NXT, all of them go to Raw and SmackDown, and almost all of them become champions, right? It's like everyone has been women's champion. That's why nobody gives a damn, right? So that's why when I watch like the Montez Ford, Bianca Belair thing, and like one of the points of the talk show, of the reality TV show, is that Montez Ford is like insecure, essentially, right? Or Bianca fears that he might be insecure because she's a bigger star than him, but it's like, it's not the same thing at all, right? It's not the same thing at all. Like, to be a star in women's wrestling, it's like the bar is so low that Bianca Belair can be a star in women's wrestling, right? It's like, it's not this high bar, right? It's like, you know, like you watch like women's wrestling and you're like, oh, this is complete shit. You know, like I don't want to watch this at all. Like Becky Lynch, if she was a guy, she wouldn't even be in AEW. Like, you know what I mean? She would have zero chance of being a wrestler because she's just not athletic. She can't do moves. Everything she does, she botches. But that's not here or there, cucks. The point is, NXT is broken, right? Because you have all these people that are talented, right? That they go to NXT and then they either just flounder there, or even worse, sometimes don't even make it out of NXT, like Adam Cole, right? Like, I mean, what would have been the point? Adam Cole would be like right now feuding with like, you know, they'd put him in like a tag team with like Matt Riddle or something. And then after that, he'd be like a jobber. You know what I mean? Nobody would care about him at all. He'd be in AEW anyways. So the argument becomes, what can we do about this? Well, number one, less time in NXT, right? Braun Breaker, for example, as he's, in my opinion, the best guy in NXT right now, he doesn't need to have like this long, illustrious NXT career, right? He should go there, beat everybody within like 3 weeks, and be established as someone that is beyond NXT, and he should be moved to the main roster immediately, right? That should be a plot device, right? Where someone like Adam Pearce or the other guy are like, holy shit, why are we letting this guy be in NXT? This guy's going to be a star, right? It makes them look stupid. It makes Adam Pearce look stupid. It makes the other guy, Nick Aldis, Magnus, it makes him look stupid because it's like, word, you really don't see it? You really don't see how, how this guy's going to be a huge star? How Braun Breaker is going to be like a huge star? You don't see it? Well, then why are you the character that you are, cuck, right? It also makes other wrestling characters look stupid. Like Paul Heyman is a great example, right? The logical conclusion of Braun Breaker going to the main roster, maybe it's like they end Roman Reigns' thing and Paul Heyman needs to go and manage Braun Breaker. It makes perfect sense. It just fits, right? But if that's the case, why hasn't Paul Heyman gone after Braun Breaker? The answer is simple. He's with Roman Reigns now, right? Roman Reigns is better. But the idea is what the idea is. You need to have this guy come up and not waste his time competing in a dumbass tag team tournament with Baron Corbin, who's on his like 9th gimmick that is not going to work. You know what I mean? Baron Corbin didn't work out, cucks. You know? And that's another problem. Like, don't be afraid of releasing people. You know? I like Baron Corbin, but he didn't work out. There's nothing wrong with that, right? He's like 40 now, it's too late probably, but if he was like 30, 35 even, he could go to the indies for like 3 years, discover himself, get in shape, right? Find a better gimmick, right? And then come back like Drew McIntyre did, right? It's a blessing to be released early in the WWE. It's no longer a curse, right? Because there was a point when once you get released, you're not coming back, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, once Just Joe from the Attitude Era got released, nobody was clamoring for Just Joe to come back, right? That's what I'm saying. Same thing. You know what I mean? Nobody said, where's S.A. Rios after S.A. Rios got released? But nowadays, with Triple H, like hiring everybody, just to waste money, basically. It's like, oh, like, what's his name? Bronson Reed. They're like, oh, this guy failed 3 times. Why don't we hire him a 4th time and then give him nothing to do, right? Oh, let's see if he succeeds. No, he's not going to. This guy, like I said from the beginning, is Bull Dempsey 2.0. Just hire Bull Dempsey back. It's the same shit. So the point is, NXT runs should be brief. The NXT title should be seen as a stepping stone. It should not be seen as an achievement at all, right? As a matter of fact, the flow of the show should be as follows. If you're in NXT, you either have grudge matches or everyone's goal is to be NXT champion with the express intention that this will allow them to go to Raw or SmackDown. That's it, right? I would even go as far as back in the day saying that, like, you know, when there was an actual quote-unquote rivalry between Raw and SmackDown, where it's like Raw was clearly the A show and the SmackDown guys should have tried to go to Raw. Right? They should see Raw as a promotion, and the people from Raw going to SmackDown should see it as a demotion, like Triple H when he got sent to SmackDown. Remember that? He was like, absolutely not. Boom, back on Raw he is, right? They trade him for like the Dudley Boys and Booker T, right? Because it's like, oh, okay. And then Booker T was like, I was on Raw, dog. What am I doing here, sucker? You know? Like, he was like, I don't want to be on SmackDown. It's the jobber show. So NXT, if SmackDown was the jobber show then, and it had people like Booker T and Batista, then what the hell is NXT? Where the champion is Ilya Dragunov, who I actually like, but who is not going to make it in this business. Like, Ilya Dragunov, the best case scenario for him is he joins Imperium, and that's it. He becomes another Marcel Bartel. That's whatever his name is now, Ludwig Kaiser. He becomes that guy. That's it, motherfucks. Or, like, if everything aligns perfectly, maybe he'll have like a Kofi Mania moment, right? Like, I mean, that's now in the cards for every little guy. Every little guy could have a Kofi Mania moment. Like, Drew Gulak could have a Kofi Mania moment, for all we know, right? Doesn't matter. The point is, NXT superstars should be there for a brief period of time to establish themselves, right? And to get the skills. The idea that NXT needs to have these deep storylines and gimmicks is absurd. The gimmicks in NXT should be superficial. Like, for example, the Creed brothers. That's a great example, right? The Creed brothers, their gimmick is they're these two, like, real-life collegiate athletes who are very good wrestlers, and they're, like, super athletes, right? That's all you need. Same thing with Ivy Nile, right? These subtle, implied gimmicks, right? If this guy is just athletic, and he's going to kick your ass, right? That's all you need. You know, you don't need these ridiculous gimmicks, all the wolf dogs, and Baron Corbin comes out with, like, a wolf's head on. Like, enough, bro. It didn't work out the first 5 times you did the lone wolf, cuck. You know what I'm saying? Now you're just dragging down Braun Breaker. Like, what should have happened is this. Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin win the tag team title, and then immediately, while Baron Corbin is holding up the trophy, Braun Breaker just spears the hell out of him, beats him with the trophy, and breaks the trophy, right? And then beats him clean in like a 2-minute squash match the next episode of NXT, right? To say, like, what the hell? I don't give a damn about this. I was just bored, right? In order to distance himself from being part of some jobber tag team tournament after he was like a NXT champion for like 2 years. What are they doing with this guy? He's obviously ready. Just put him in the main roster, right? And the same can be said about a lot of people, right? Nobody benefits from being in NXT, at least from a storytelling perspective, right? Look at Pretty Deadly, right? They were jobbers in NXT UK, then they became jobbers in NXT, and now they're jobbers on SmackDown, and soon enough, they'll be released, right? Or they'll be like in an Otis, Chad Gable type spot where they're just there, you know, just be the next Breezango. Like, who cares, right? The point is, NXT and every other developmental system should be treated as a developmental system. Once you have been developed, I don't care what storylines you abandon, right? For example, Carmelo Hayes, he betrayed Trick Williams, and Carmelo Hayes needs to now go to the main roster. And when Trick Williams comes to the main roster, I don't give a damn if they're friends or enemies. I should be able to forget completely what happened in developmental because it's a different thing, right? But because they've blurred the lines, right, all of a sudden now you have people like Charlotte being like, I want to be NXT Women's Champion. I won the Royal Rumble, but I'm going to challenge for the NXT title. Have you lost your mind? Are you crazy? Like, no. There should be one title that's seen as the number 1 and another title seen as the number 2. For the women's title, the one that Rhea Ripley has now is the number 1 title because Rhea Ripley is making it the number 1 title by being champion for like a year. And then for the men's title, it's obviously the Roman Reigns title, right? The other titles are inferior. As a matter of fact, I don't even remember who the other women... Oh, Io Sky. Like, are you kidding me? Fuck out of here, right? So we need better booking for NXT. And that's going to translate to better booked wrestlers in the main roster, right? Because you don't have to worry about the fact that in NXT, Bray Wyatt, and rest in peace, and Bo Dallas were brothers. And now they're not. You don't have to even acknowledge that. Absolutely not. This is no longer whatever, Wyndham Rotunda, whatever his name was during the developmental. This is Bray Wyatt. He looks like your brother, but you don't realize it's him. And he is just cuck. He's just some guy from the backwoods. He's like some retard who has 2 other big retards with him from the backwoods. And that's what's going on here. Developmental should be used to develop wrestlers, not to push them, and certainly, cucks, not to hold them back from what the hell is happening. And with that being said, cuckolds, I bid you goodbye, and I tell you to go fuck your mothers and have fun doing whatever it is that you do today. Maybe watching the Super Bowl, depending on when I release this video, cucks.